Okay, so here's the original one with revisions, and then here's well with the written what I need to revise, and then here's the normal one. So I italicized PCR materials, as you can see here, and then number of essential elements. I was asking for ingredients, and I did put the ingredients here after. So I thought it was fine the first time, so I was a little confused there. But I did put what the PCR mixture includes, and then it asked for the specific sequence of the forward primer, so I added that, and same one for the reverse primer, so I also added that. And a lot of this is just a lot of the tenses are wrong. They're in past tense or they're in forward or present tense. So or yes, sorry. The tenses were wrong, so I also fixed that. And um the wording was a little odd here. So I just changed it also. And yeah. And then the gel electrophoresis materials, I italicized that. Many components make up the creation of our gel in our experiments. First sentence sounds like an intro, so I removed it. Um, and then it asked me the list of ingredients for the 20-time lithium borate buffer solution. Um, so I did that. Uh, so yeah, they were there too, so I was confused about that as well, I guess. And then um. it asked 5 microliters of cyber dye. Uh, it's supposed to be. I have to stay consistent, and instead of putting microliters, I just added the uh correct signing for that. And then instead of in a refrigerator, I had it at 4 degrees Fahrenheit. And so this section was worded weirdly, so I just rewrote it here in a more understandable way. And it asked how long the voltage ran for the actual electrophoresis, and I put for 30 minutes. And then CFTR primer design. So yeah, I italicized this, of course, and then it asked what primer design it was. So I clarified that it's CFTR primer design, and um. And then I decided to include the sequence also because I was talking about a certain primer, so I added it. And then um, I also fixed the tents and um, fixed the tents as well. And then I fixed the forward primer too right here. And then I just yeah, I fixed the forward primer too. It's right here. And then I fixed the tents as well. And the tents is also sorry, there's a lot of tents that need to be fixed, and I fixed those. And then yeah, sorry. So yeah, I accidentally pasted it twice, it looks like, but yeah. So I'm back down here. And then I added the polarity of it as well. They wanted the polarity, so I added the polarities. And a lot of this is rewritten, so that's why like you don't see it exactly because I just wanted it to follow more of a narrative flow rather than an intro that was said um up here. Um need more narrative. So yeah, I tried to just rewrite it a little bit in order to. Well, I tried to stay consistent, but it was a little difficult since more of a narrative flow was wanted. However, um, this is confusing, so I removed that. And yeah, I also put the polarity, and then this is all very confusing, so I kind of just I guess summarized it up while also just I removed a lot of it while also keeping the most important. Um, Parts that were in. So I still said that the annealing temperatures were found using a more accurate formula. Because this formula was good, but it was only used for tiny short primers. So uh, I meant to put a newly revised one in there, but I guess I didn't realize I never did that. So it's supposed to be put here, and then uh why are we using lambda primers to find CFTR genes? Yeah, that was just confusing, so I removed that because we're not using lambda primers to find that. And I just added the annealing temperature for the PCR reaction was set at 51 degrees Celsius to optimize primer binding efficiency. Um, yeah, because I don't because a lot of this was just confusing and this is not necessary to put in there because we're not talking about lambda primer, so I just put this to um, basically summarize it. And then human genome purification. Uh, this is intro sentence. It doesn't belong in methods, so I removed that. And then DNA. And then so are we testing the efficacy of primers or making a diagnostic test? Yes. So yes, we are making a diagnostic test. But a lot of this was just redundant. I thought this section was just too long. So I just summarized all of it. I said DNA was extracted and then using a purification kit. And then cells were lysed using detergent-based buffer and protein were precipitated through the addition of enzymatic solution. The lysed material was subject to centrifugation. Uh, and then it was the DNA was eluted into 100 microliter of buffer and stored at negative 20 degrees Celsius for later use. Um, so I put that here and then because there was question marks here and then question marks here, so I kind of just reworded it all of it just to I guess I guess just make it more easily readable. But I definitely could have added a little more numbers, but and yeah, so yeah, I kind of just rewrote all of that. Um, and just in I kind of just it's just a condensed way because a lot of this just was not necessary, and this is a predicted result down here, so I removed that, and I deleted these. Um, yeah, and then polymerase chain reaction for CFTR DNA. I italicized it, of course, and then I added for CFTR DNA as well, uh, because that's what we're talking about, and um, yeah. I also tried to make it sound more of a narrative tone, and I already said this, so I removed it. I already said that too, removed it. I deleted this. A lot of this is just deletion, so that's why it's a lot more shorter than the original. I deleted that as well. And do you know if DNA sample has mutation or not? We did not know if DNA sample has mutation or not. And then the PCR steps are out of order. So I just put them back into order normally. So uh, so denature and then anneal and then extension. Um, and then we're wondering why we're talking about lambda primers. So I just removed that because that's not necessary here. We're talking about the CFTR DNA, not lambda DNA. And and then we only listed one condition, so I clarified that as well to confirm yeah, not that, but yes. And then they also yeah, these are not methods, so I removed that. So basically I just removed what was not methods and I just um I put the PCR steps back in order. Uh and yeah, so yeah, you might see like me just changing things up that are not like for for instance like if you see a uh sentence here that's not here in or just reworded, yeah, I just reworded it because again I was just trying to fit everything with a narrative flow and follow the rubric as much as possible. And I just said to confirm successful amplification, a small portion of the PCR product was loaded into an agarose gel for electrophoresis. I just said that instead of the way this one ended because this was deleted. So I just put instead of just putting like the cycle was repeated 35 times to guarantee enough amplification, I just I just said it was loaded into an agarose gel for electrophoresis, and then I kind of just said that in order to lead on to what was going to be talked about in the next section to have a nice little flow for this. So then we're in the gel electrophoresis, and they commented better narrative flow, but still reads like an intro. So I tried my best to fix that as well. Um, yeah. So instead of like explaining a lot of the stuff, I just mentioned just I just try to stick clearly to methods and not talk too much, and that's why you saw like definitely a lot more summarization because it's not an intro. Like they should know that already since they already read the intro, but now it's methods, so um it should be a lot not as much explanation, I guess. Um so better narrative flow, but still reads like an intro. Yes, I already said that. And then the necessary dilution calculations, which were so I added those as well. Um and I deleted this. That was deleted, and the mixture was cooked. So I fixed the wording as well. Yeah. So again, a lot of it was just read like an intro. So I just rearranged a lot of the things and um, fixed the tense, and then wording were taped. I fixed that as well. And this is a lot shorter because I had to delete a lot. And so when it mentions cyber, I just removed all this because we already said cyber was earlier. So I thought so yeah, so I wrote that it was poured into a casting tray. Yeah, so the cyber just wasn't necessary because um to be put in there because they already know that's in there. So I don't know why I would need to say it again. They already know that. So I just removed that. And I also deleted that, deleted this, and I just changed the wording a lot. And I deleted all of this because um it should be results. Um and I also yeah, so I deleted this because this was supposed to be moved to where I mentioned it the first time. So that just moved. Um and I deleted this as well. I deleted this sentence as well, so it's not there. So yeah, I just basically just rewrote a lot of it because we need to fit the narrative flow and not an intro. Um, so I still put all the basic details like it was the aggro shell was how it was prepared. It was microwaved, then it was poured into a casting tray, and then it was solidified, and then it was submerged in buffer, and oh yeah, I guess I didn't write how the buffer was. Yeah, that's another mistake I made. Um, and then the electrophoresis process ran at 120. I didn't write like the specific um, what was in the buffer. Must have forgot to do that. And the electrophoresis process ran at 120 volts for 30 minutes, allowing DNA fragments to migrate according to size, with smaller fragments traveling further down the gel. Um, so yeah, I explained how that works. And gel is removed. The bands were documented using gel. Yeah. So I just yeah. So like I said, a lot of this just reworded to not make it sound like an intro. I feel like there was just too much elaboration a lot of the time. Like to prevent cross contamination, I don't think that was necessary. So I just removed that entirely. This is all just to make it sound more narrative and not introduction like. And then moving on to data analysis. Um, uh did we only analyze gels? Yes, we did. So that's why I clarified gel data analysis and not just regular data analysis. Um, and so I just basically, so clear identification of DNA bands was made possible by cyber dye enhanced. That was a question mark. So I just clarified that DNA fragments were visualized under UV light using cyber dye staining. And then band intensity was used to estimate DNA concentration, um, as you can see here. And then and then higher, instead of higher levels, I put higher concentrations. And then band, to determine the size of the experimental DNA pieces and migration distance for each fragment was measured and compared to a DNA ladder. And I put the specific ladder. Yeah, just rewording a lot of this to make it sound more smooth, to just kind of cut to the point so the reader can understand more if they don't really know a lot about this certain type of experiment. And then to ensure precision, migration distances were measured using digital imaging software. So yeah, I did that. I added that. And a lot of this was just not methods. So I deleted all of it and just kind of said, um, as far as this is how we analyze our data, we use the migration um, distances were measured using digital imaging software. So I tried to listen as much as possible instead of just by saying like that's not methods. So I just removed all of it. Sorry if this is a little confusing. Um, and then if I'm like explaining in a confusing manner. All right, and then discussion. We have our experiment summary. I italicize that because that needs to be italicized, and it's more background than experimental summary. So I tried to just change it up a little bit to make experimental summary rather than just background. And I also changed the source. So from Mayo Clinic ND to anonymous unknown because we didn't know the certain year. And then I put also put anonymous unknown uh because we didn't know the certain name, so I added that as well. And then changed okay, yeah, changed the Gasparini 17 to Nunes. Not that, sorry. Um yeah, I changed Nunes et al. 1141 to Gasparini or to Nunes et al. 1992, because that's the wrong year. Uh, and then they asked what 2869 INSG meant, so I just wrote it. It's a friendship mutation that results from insertion of guanide after nucleotide 2869 and exon 15. And then this mutation leads to the production of a truncated protein. Yep. Um, and one patient, are we doing sequencing in this class? No, we're not. So I just removed that as well. And lots of background information, yeah. So I removed a lot of it, as you can see, and just reworded it. Um, and and yeah, just trying to see where I fixed it. And then we used I decided to use we are questioning if instead of that I used a prediction sentence. We predict because and right here we predict. Um, yeah, was PCR effective in your project? Um, and I wrote why it is an effective diagnostic tool. Yeah, and I just fixed um a lot of these citations. Sorry, I'm losing wording right now. And then I just kind of just removed this because uh, I didn't remove it, but I just wrote how it's an effective way, and um I just removed this because like I how PCR is an effective way in it, like I can just explain that myself. I don't need a site for that, so I just removed that as well. Um and yeah, so yeah, I last like I said before, I just added a we use a prediction. Um yeah, I did the we predict, and um I removed such as salt and primers and how'd you do this, why, where'd you learn this from, and um I just removed all of that. I just because just to avoid confusion, I just left it as the uh we predict sentence. And then to our original prediction, um, um, I just uh the length of was predicted to be we just said uh instead of like examine, we just put analyze through gel electrophoresis. Um, and then a lot of this was just uh I clarified that it's our design primers. So um specifically we designed primers forward primer 1 and forward primer 2 to distinguish between wild type and mutant CFTR genes. Um, and then and yeah, so I fixed a lot of this. But I also left a lot of it based on the insertion of guanine after 2869th nucleotide on the 3' end. I just put the insertion of the position on the 3' end of the primers rather than the 5' end to ensure proper complementarity and binding during the extension phase of PCR. Because just basically just better wording. That's it. Um, and a lot of this is just sorry, I'm having a hard time just like because I rewrote a lot of it, like I said, like again, to fit narrative. So a lot of this is just not exactly here. Like it doesn't like I just basically reworded, and some of it's even removed, to make it not sound like an intro, because a lot of this did sound like an intro. Um, and then an accurate calculation of the annealing temperature allows for DNA polymerase to bind the primers together using DNTP. Um, where we hypothesized, and I just put anticipated. Um, I know I should have put predicted. Um, no, sorry, I did put predicted. Because yeah, sorry. Using an accurate calculation of annealing temperatures, we predicted that DNA polymerase. Yeah, so I added the we predicted as well, and then I also put how we got the exact size of 224 base pairs. Um, uh. This fragment size is determined by the position of the insertion and sequence length dictated by the design primers. So I put how we got that. And then I fixed the citation down here, put it over here. And yeah. And I tried my best. It said incomplete prediction. So I fixed it. I said we predicted and I cited it and I said how the fragment size um uh, is determined by position of the insertion and the sequence length dictated by the design primers. And then moving on to results and ultimate findings, I italicized that, of course, and then I all this should be a prediction. So I wrote in predicting the ultimate findings we predicted, and I just wrote how it's predicted, and I just rewrote it, just put this at the like I rearranged it, I guess, and I put Gasparini at L 1992 instead of Gasparini at L 1 to 7. Um yeah. So I tried my best to make it sound more narrative, and that's why a lot of this you didn't see it line up with here because uh I it was just I was just trying to figure out a way to listen to the professors or the TAs, whoever was revising it, listen to their comments while also changing the narrative. So a lot of it is just put in different places and just reworded a lot. Um, so that's why I might have been a little slow with explaining because I was trying to just like figure out and show you where I was putting the revisions because like I said before, a lot of it sounded like an intro, so I was just trying to make it sound more narrative based. And yeah, so this isn't so I just extended this a little bit and added the we predicted statement, and then I also put like if successful, uh this method could serve an accurate and efficient diagnostic tool for identifying the specific mutation in cystic fibrosis patients. And then I just said how it could refine the approach by incorporating additional controls and further optimizing reaction conditions to ensure maximum accuracy. Just saying like how, um, just saying our ultimate findings, like how if this method's successful, it could be great to figure out specific mutations in cystic fibrosis patients and just helping overall advancements in medicine and medically related things in order to accurately diagnose people and just for the medical field in general, just help with advancements. That's all I got. Thank you for listening.